Joining now with more on the ongoing security crisis in Israel, former National Security Advisor and Research Fellow at the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security and with the Jewish Institute for National Security of America, Major General in the IDF Reserves, Yaakov Amidror. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, Israel is easing restrictions on Gaza despite ongoing violence and incitement. Many are arguing that Hamas is therefore being emboldened. Would you agree?
I agree that it might help Hamas because the economic situation is very important for Hamas. But at the same time, it is, a fine line between putting too much pressure on the Gaza Strip to the point in which they don't have what to lose, and on the other side, to let the civilians in Gaza to have enough bread, butter, and a better economy, so it will be understood for the population in Gaza and for Hamas, which is responsible for Gaza, that there is a cost for violating the situation in Gaza and between Gaza and Israel.
All right, moving now to the Palestinian Authority. In the Palestinian Authority, and even on the PA's official TV channels, we again see imams calling for Allah to, quote, delight them with the extermination of the evil Jews. What's being done to counter such blatant incitement, and what can be done, really?
I think that if we want to keep the authority, which is responsible for the civil life of civilian life of the civilians in area A and B, to stop the incitement will be almost impossible. I was a member of a committee, I think 25 years ago, dealing with incitement. It is the DNA of the Palestinians to incite against Israel, and at the end, this is our neighbors. It's something that we cannot change. I think that all the hopes that by the agreements with the Palestinians incitement will be reduced were very optimistic. It didn't happen.
Well, so, here we're seeing these images of Palestinians throwing stones, and every night on the Temple Mount, Palestinians are collecting these stones, creating barricades, etc. Are security forces at least are doing anything about that? Why not lie in wait and do something overnight as opposed to waiting for the violence to kick off in the early morning?
I think that this is the main job of the police in those days in Jerusalem, and they understand the situation as well. If it is within the boundaries of the mountain, I don't think that the police should go in and going after them into the mosque. But if they are moving out of boundaries of the mountain towards the Wailing Wall or against Jews who are going visiting the Temple Mountain, I think that the police should be very aggressive and to prevent it.
All right, so it seems that Israel is creating an artificial distinction between Hamas and Islamic Jihad's activities in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, or even with Lebanon. Would you agree that that's the case, and what would the benefit of doing that be?
I think that the only benefit for that is that we are not connecting the three different parts of these actions, is because if you do it, you're doomed to go to a big operation in Gaza, and it's not our interest today. We should focus our attention on other issues and try to minimize the effectiveness of the Hamas and Islamic Jihad to bring Israel into a big operation. It's the interest of Islamic Jihad, it's not the interest of Hamas. And we have to play between the friction and to find the way how we are minimizing the to Israeli interest, and at the same time, the situation is not deteriorating into a big operation in Gaza. And yes, it's a very problematic and artificial definition.
Well, conversely, over the last few days, for example, we've seen a number of Islamic Jihad terror plots being foiled, including a bombing attack. And over the weekend, most of the rockets that were fired towards Israel, if not all of them, were fired by Islamic Jihad operatives. Why not target Islamic Jihad directly in the Strip as opposed to only hitting Hamas as the sovereign entity in Gaza?
First, I have to emphasize that very, very few rockets have been launched in the last few days from Gaza. And part of it was Hamas tried to prevent it. And it is our interest not to connect Hamas and Islamic Jihad.
Well, so that's really my point. Why not go then directly after Islamic Jihad as opposed to Hamas?
Because what we want to have is a clear address in the street. And for us, the address is Hamas responsible for Gaza Strip. We should not be the judges who will say, okay, it's A did it, so we will attack A. If it's B, we will attack B. There is one address, it's the Hamas, it's the responsibility of Hamas, and we should do whatever is needed to make Hamas understand that he's responsible for Gaza. He has many benefits because of that, but he has some responsibilities because of that, and should understand the responsibilities. If you remember, almost a year ago, we succeeded to kill one of the leaders of Islamic Jihad who break all the rules acted against Israel and against the restriction of Hamas and so on. That was needed because of the special circumstances and the attitude of this guy. I'm not sure that it is needed today. On the contrary, today we should emphasize the responsibility of Hamas in Gaza Strip.
All right, Major General Amidror, thank you so much for joining us.
You are most welcome.